A deformed body, pain so unbearable it made him howl through the night. An odor so foul courtiers fainted rather than breathe it in. And, after death, a scene so grotesque that it remains one of the darkest footnotes in royal history. The leaking coffin of England's most feared monarch, Henry VIII, and the stray dogs that lapped up the fluids of his decomposing body. This is not the Henry VIII you see in the portraits, the proud, broad-shouldered Renaissance king in furs and jewels. This is the true Henry, the man who began as Europe's golden prince and ended as a bloated, ulcerated mass of flesh, reviled, feared, and pitied. Today we reveal the unvarnished truth of his decline, a story so grotesque it was rarely spoken aloud, even in whispers. In January 1536, when Henry was 44, Greenwich hosted a grand jousting tournament. The lists were packed with cheering spectators. The king, clad in gleaming armor, charged down the tilt yard on a massive destrier. Courtiers learned to mask their faces in silks or lace, inhaling perfumes to survive their audiences with him. None dared flinch or cover their nose openly. The king's wrath was as swift as it was lethal. Unable to exercise as before, Henry's body swelled. His youthful waistline of 89 centimeters ballooned to over 130. His weight surged past 180 kilograms. He could no longer mount a horse without assistance. By the 1540s, the sores had become so advanced that exposed bone could be seen through the rotting tissue. The stench reached down corridors, forcing attendants to gag in silence. But his death is a reminder that no crown can shield a man from decay. He began as the embodiment of power and beauty. He ended as a bloated, ulcerated tyrant, reeking so badly the court could smell him from 3 rooms away, his final humiliation lapped up by dogs. Trusted friends were beheaded on the flimsiest suspicions. In winter 1546-47, the gangrene in his legs spread. The odor was unbearable, not merely unpleasant, but gag-inducing. Yet even then, it was treason to speak of the king's death. His physicians played the charade of possible recovery, even as the smell of decomposition leaked from his living body. His marriages reflected his decline to 19-year-old. Old Catherine Howard, Henry was a monstrous figure, bloated, deformed, and reeking. Her affair with a young courtier was inevitable. When discovered, both were executed. By his final years, Henry was beset by diabetes, gout, hypertension, and likely heart failure. He could barely walk. Pain ruled his life. His temper was volcanic, his paranoia all-consuming. His breathing became labored, and fever gripped him. Delirium came in waves. At times, he muttered the names of his dead wives, Jane Seymour, Anne Boleyn, as if haunted by their ghosts. Death brought no dignity. His body, massive and swollen, demanded a custom-made coffin. Embalming in Tudor England was primitive, removing organs, packing the cavities with herbs, sewing the corpse shut. Cadaveric fluid seeped onto the chapel floor, a foul, oily substance. Chroniclers claim stray dogs entered during the night and licked it up. Whether literal or exaggerated, the image stuck. The once mighty Henry reduced to carrion for street animals. On February 16, 1547, the stinking coffin was buried in St. George's Chapel, Windsor, beside Jane Seymour. His son, Edward VI, for whom he had broken with Rome and spilled so much blood, ruled for just 6 years before dying at 15. Even the most absolute ruler cannot escape the rot of the flesh, and perhaps that is the truest lesson of Henry VIII's life and death. Palaces had to be altered to fit him. Doors widened, chairs reinforced, beds enlarged. He was hoisted between rooms with a pulley system, his bulk swaying in the air like a grotesque royal cargo. On January 27, 1547, Henry allowed Archbishop Thomas Cranmer to be summoned. Unable to speak, he squeezed Cranmer's hand in affirmation of his faith. Hours later, he was dead. The coffin was placed in the chapel of Sion Abbey to await burial. Then came the scene that would stain his legacy forever. The seal failed. Decomposition gases built up, rupturing the coffin lining. The throne passed to his daughters, Mary the Ravaged, who tried to undo his religious reforms, and Elizabeth I, who ushered in England's golden age. Henry VIII's political legacy, the break from Rome, the foundation of the Church of England, still shapes Britain. Then disaster struck. His horse stumbled and collapsed, its full weight crushing the king beneath it. Witnesses gasped. Dust filled the air. Henry lay still. For 2 hours, England's ruler did not move. Many feared the king was dead. When he awoke, it was clear the damage was severe. His right leg bore a deep wound. The year of the accident was also the year he executed his second wife, Anne Boleyn, on charges so absurd they still baffle scholars. Henry's diet was a death sentence in itself. Records from the royal kitchens reveal feasts of 5, 6, even 7 courses. Rich pies, roasted game, slabs of beef and pork, dripping with fat. He consumed around 5,000 calories a day, washed down with gallons of wine and ale. His final wife, Catherine Parr, fulfilled more the role of nurse than lover, tending to his sores, managing his medications, enduring his mood swings. Henry Tudor was born on June 28, 1491. When he inherited the throne at just 17, he was a vision of regal perfection, tall, athletic, and exuding the confidence of youth. His hair glowed golden red in the sun. His skin was clear and unscarred, his limbs powerful from jousting, hunting, and tennis. Foreign ambassadors could not stop writing about him. One Venetian envoy described him as the handsomest potentate ever seen. His face like that of an angel, his body so magnificent that it seemed fashioned by the very hand of God. In these early years, Henry embodied the Renaissance ideal, a warrior scholar, fluent in multiple languages, skilled in music, poetry, and sport. He was not merely a king, he was the physical manifestation of England's pride. But fate has a way of turning golden gods into broken men. In an age without antibiotics, the injury never truly healed. It became an open ulcer, a raw, oozing sore that refused to close. It constantly discharged pus. And the smell. The smell could choke a man. The injury was not only to his leg. Some historians believe Henry suffered a traumatic brain injury during those 2 hours of unconsciousness. If true, it could explain what followed, an escalation of paranoia, sudden rages, and cruel, impulsive decisions. Vegetables were an afterthought, often absent altogether. The ulcers in his legs deepened. Physicians of the age, lacking understanding, tried remedies that only worsened his state, searing the flesh with hot irons, applying ointments laced with arsenic or mercury, draining blood from his already weakened body. From that day forward, Henry's very presence was announced by an invisible, suffocating cloud of rot.